What's up, you guys? Happy Saturday morning. Welcome to episode 110 of the First and 10 NFL New York Jets podcast. How you doing, brother? You pumped?
Oh, I'm so pumped. This is going to be awesome. I am so pumped.
I
You
can't
got to
wait.
be pumped yourself. Look at you.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
you're ready
go.
to rock.
Let's
Kevin,
go. Monday night, 8:21. Let's go.
yeah, so much to discuss, Kevin. So much. I know we haven't had a chance in almost 2 weeks to talk, and a lot has happened. Did you hear the Michael Lombardi rumor that dropped last night about 4 or 5 o'clock?
Yes. About Hassan. Hassan, what's up with Hassan?
My take is that if Michael Lombardi is right on the money and he's signing sometime today, and I know he said he won't be in uniform. I'm sorry, he's got to be in uniform.
Gotta
Even
be.
if it's for 15 plays, Kevin, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 3, whatever.
Third and long, send them in.
Yeah,
Kill party.
yeah, right. Yep, I agree. Even if it's for 15 plays,
Oh, look, I think we've
we
got a guest.
we have a guest. Oh,
Go!
Can
he's
you guys hear me?
already.
We can hear you. Can you hear
Excellent.
us?
Yes, I can.
All right,
Excellent.
look at that.
Yes, I can.
So go a little forward so we all, yeah, it is.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yeah, I think I am. Give me 1 second to make sure that I'm all plugged in. You good? Okay.
Take your time. Take your time.
I think I'm good. Perfect.
We just got on a little earlier because we were catching up, Kevin and I. It's been 2 weeks since we last done one of these because I was away. And we were talking about Hassan Reddick. Have you heard the Michael Lombardi rumor?
No.
Okay. So supposedly he's supposed to sign today. That's what we're hearing. Sometime today he's supposed to sign. Now,
talk about getting to last second, right? I mean, all right.
Yeah.
Well, it was a nice way to get out of training camp in the hot summer days like that.
Exactly.
That's my theory with Trent Williams, by the way. But that's just
Yeah.
I know. You see, you're saying Trent Williams, but the rumor is he will play Monday night, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Trent will play.
Yeah, and I agree he should play. Michael Lombardi is reporting that even if he signs today, he won't play Monday. And I'm thinking, no. Even if it's 10 plays, 12 plays, you got to find a way to get this man out there to give your offensive line something to think about, especially an O-line. And correct me if I'm wrong, Marco, is weak in the interior.
It's weak on the right side.
Okay.
So the issue is mainly a right tackle. Some say center. I don't think the center is the issue. I think that the issue mainly our right tackle is not up to snuff. But you know what? We can't have 22 stars plus special team aces, right? That's a little complicated. So definitely, I think Reddick attacking McKivitz on your left, our right. That's the best way to put pressure on Brock. Now, it was our entire right side, but from what we've seen in training camp and preseason, we might have hit or at least struggled with a rookie right tackle that has edged out everybody else. I think, but definitely that's the right side is definitely your best shot.
Okay. And is this Jet defense, speaking as an outsider, one of the things that will keep you up Sunday night worrying?
I think, I mean, again, this time this is your chance to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that what kept you in games last year was your defense. I think your D line is spectacular.
It sure wasn't the quarterback, so.
Well, yeah.
Just saying.
Right. You have one superstar at least in your secondary, but it's not that the other guys are, chumps.
Mm-hmm.
I think our best chance probably is usually our intermediate game. You know, that's where we feast usually, simply because of just Kittle, Debo, CMC, all those guys. And that's also where Brock is really good. But I'm not sure he's going to have that many seconds to throw.
Okay. Well, we'll save your thought on that because I do have a couple of questions that lead to what you just said, and you'll
Yeah.
get to elaborate more down the road. I do
Yeah.
have a few questions for you on that. Are you happy with your lineup? Are you happy with the 53 guys that made the roster?
So, it's been, as always, because this is one of the things that Kyle Shanahan, our coach, repeats every time in the run up to cut down days, that the first 53 is never the second, the third, or the fourth, because so much happened in the middle.
Okay.
Even before like week one, right? Especially when you play Monday night and not Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you look at the overall roster, so the 53 guys that start this year versus the 53 that started last year,
Mm-hmm.
I think they marginally improved.
Okay.
Except for a couple of positions. My main concern, and maybe this is my bias, it might be
Mhm.
me because I still haven't recovered from February. I just don't know.
That's going to be my
mentally-
question.
I just don't know mentally how this team can be ready to, pin their ears out and back and just attack. Because, as I said, I'm mentally exhausted. Now, I know it's their job, right? It's not that's what they're supposed to do. It's part of who they are. When you got that close so many times and you never get to lift the trophy, I'm not really sure I can just go, shoot, I have another, 18 weeks plus the postseason?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm aching
It's
and I
like
haven't even started.
brutal.
So am I happy with the roster? Yes. Do I think we have a better defensive coordinator than we did last year for our system? Yes.
Okay.
Do I think that I have the best secondary we've had since Kyle Shanahan took over? Yes.
Okay.
Do I think we improved opposite Nick Bosa? Yes. We had the same offense as last year with a better right guard. Great. I just don't know if they have fuel left in the tank.
Yeah, my
Marco,
question. I had a question for you, Marco, and referring to what you're talking about. My question was going to be: have you recovered yet?
Me?
Yes.
No.
I didn't think so. No.
It takes actually. You know what? Usually, because I'm used to some like signing drama over the summer, right? There's always someone that signs at the very last second. Last year it was Bosa that signed basically like 2 days before we traveled to Pittsburgh. I expect like the year before with Debo, there's always someone because we're lucky enough that we have a pretty stacked roster. Okay. But usually I'm there going to, have they signed yet? Have they signed yet? And then when they do, are all excited. This year I was like, can this Brandon Ayuk drama just finish? And you know what? Just ship him to wherever. I don't care. And it's mainly because, oh my God, February was so hard. Keep in mind that I watched it from Dublin, which means that overtime ended at 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
That did not add to the fun of it.
You had to go from the highest of highs, like, yeah, we're going to the lowest of lows. I can't even imagine.
Because I felt really good after the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Because Mahomes had basically nothing. He had no
right. Yeah.
When Greenlaw went down, and he's by far one of our it's not the best player we have on defense, but he's the energizer bunny.
The thing is, Marco, sometimes you don't. So I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm only watching my boy now play sports. Sometimes you don't have to be the best on the field. You have to have the biggest. You have to have the biggest heart, and everyone will follow that guy with the biggest heart.
I can't hear you.
Okay.
Oops.
Let me know when you could hear me. I'll rephrase my question.
Hey, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yes. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Hello, Marco.
Mystery Salt.
Can you hear me?
Hello, Marco.
All right.
All right. So my question was that you said about not being the best player.
Can't hear you. God
Is it
damn.
can you hear Kevin?
Hello, hello. Wow, crazy. We
It
could use-
happens.
we could use sign language.
Do I log out and log back in? What do we
You
do?
wanna
And
try?
then can you
We can
edit
try,
it?
yeah, sure.
You can
But see,
edit it.
yeah, we could hear you. Yeah.
He can't hear us. You can't hear us still.
All right, maybe he'll log back
All
in.
right.
My
Anyway.
question to him was that he was saying how Greenlaw wasn't the best player on the team or on the field, but sometimes you don't have to be. If you have a big heart and you come 100%, guys will follow you. That's the guy you want to run into the dark alley with, because sometimes the best player thinks he's the best and doesn't always bring it because he thinks he's the best or knows he's the best.
I just can't even imagine what he went through that day. I mean, the only thing I can compare it to, or we can compare it to, is the mud ball, right? The AJ Dewey ball in Denver against
Gastineau.
Elway. Yep, Gastineau. I mean Denver.
That second half at Denver.
Take the
Oof.
10-0 lead after the blocked punt, Curtis Martin into the end zone. Oh my God, we're going to Miami.
And not only that, Kevin, and we're going way back now, to have that 10, and correct me if I'm wrong, because your memory is better with this stuff. Not only to have a 10-point lead, but to start the second half with the ball.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How big would it have been if they even put 3 points on the board and killed 5-6 minutes off that clock? That might have just defeated Denver altogether, but that's old news. No,
I was just trying to compare, like,
no, I know,
find something that would be the
agree.
same feeling.
The
I
Steeler
don't know.
game with Sanchez, like if we would have showed up the first half instead of the second half, we would have been good, or showed up both halves, I should say.
I mean, because we never make it to the Super Bowl, so we just got to we got to take what we can get.
Exactly.
To relate to people who get
and isn't
there.
it funny, Kev, you say that, when hopefully we'll get Marco back on. Sorry about that, people. Because Marco would have been a great guest, especially of San Francisco. In saying that, see, now I lost my train. This rather than two old men do a podcast. Now I lost my train of thought about this team. And we probably say this every year, you and I, but I really feel this year, this is a deep squad.
Yes.
This is a really deep squad.
Yes. It's the first time. Yeah, here he comes. It's the first time we've actually had depth.
Exactly. Agree. Can you hear us now?
Can you hear us now?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. What commercial is that? Is it AT&T? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I do. You know what? I'm screwed up with my own headphones, so I have no idea what I did.
And Marco,
yeah.
Maybe you just got us an ad with AT&T where they put all three faces going, what? Here's what happens when you don't. So whatever it's Verizon, AT&T, whatever the.
So, I was talking to Greg earlier. We opened as a 5.5 point dog. Okay. The spread went down.
I think it was 3.5. I think it was 3.5. Then Trent Williams.
Yeah, the spread went down to 3.5. Yep. And now it's back up to 4.5. Now, maybe it didn't go to 5.5 because now of the Reddick news. I don't know.
Right.
Well, anyway, Marco, let's go back because you were talking about Greenlaw, and then I had a follow-up for you. So let's go back to that. Yeah. And you were saying once he got hurt.
So once he got hurt, because I was saying he is sort of our Energizer Bunny and enforcer, right, on the field. And he was having a monster game. Like, there was no breathing room for anyone in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
When he went down, I went, this is not a good sign. Because, at some point, Kelsey was going to have some room. And if Greenlaw is there with the game he was having, either he was going to make life very tough for Travis.
Yeah.
I mean, Kelsey caught fire in the second half.
Yeah, and
Now,
you knew at some point they were going to figure it out.
right, and also like you can point to certain, if you want, what would they call them on the NFL, like films, like turning points or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're turnovers, right? I mean, CMC, like McCaffrey fumbled on our first drive when we were in the red zone, right? But also we had one of our cornerbacks, like Lenore Strip, their running back, because Pacheco on his way into the end zone.
The end zone, yeah.
So, right, same thing with, they were going nowhere. They punt, it hits one of our like backup cornerbacks in the calf. Our returner, instead of just jumping on the ball, decides he wants to try to scoop it up and run, fumbles it, and that's how they score. And those, yes, but you're going to have those moments in a game, right? Either one way or another. The game swings, and that's why I think like Greenlaw going down was the single most critical part of us losing the Super Bowl. Because I think you can't recover.
That's when the worm turned, yep.
Just the whole thing, right? Because you can't recover from the fluke play, the mistake. But when one of your, especially not just best players overall, it's just that he was one of the top players on the field on that day. And then he goes down, then changes everything. So I think, and maybe who knows, right?
And you know that, and you know that affects the rest of the team too when they
exactly.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if you guys saw it, but there were, you know, on YouTube after, because it was the mic'd up moments about the injury, and you know, our squad was like kind of in a daze for a bit,
the air just gets
came out like completely deflated for, and then yes, you're probably know this stuff happens, but
it's like Rodgers going down after 4 plays. Right?
Exactly. How can you recover from that? Yeah. Exactly.
Well, the Greenlaw thing took the heart out of your defense in a sense. He was the heart that game. They were, like you were saying, even if he's not the best player, that day he was, and that team was going to follow him into battle. He was the guy they were going to go down that dark alley with that day, because they knew he had it, you know?
And one of the things, and it's still an issue, I think this year, they might have improved because maybe, I mean, it looks like finally we really have a good draft class, but, you know, we're rookies, then I want to see them on the field. But the biggest issue we have is depth. So our starters are phenomenal. Behind, it gets a little trickier. So the drop from Greenlaw to his backup, that he was the worst defender on the field. He got picked on by Mahomes all game long. You know, it's not that he went from 100, or I don't know, PFF from 90, you dropped to 83. No, you went from 90 to 40. And when you know you're playing Patrick Mahomes, he's going to exploit that all game long.
And the good offensive coordinators are going to come right after that guy to see if he can hold his water. And once he can't, they're going to pick on you all day.
All day long. Yep.
And I really think that the Chiefs have the best quarterback in the league by far, but also possibly the best coach and the best defensive coordinator. So that's, you know,
you're that high on Spagnuolo. You like that?
Spag is phenomenal.
Okay.
I mean, they have basically, except for Chris Jones, and they found McDuffie. But other than that, it's not that you have a bunch of stars on defense. And yet, even the other night, Lamar Jackson couldn't find anyone to throw to because their like DBs blanketed everyone all game long.
You know,
I always loved Andy Reid as a coach, and Spags too, even when he was with the Giants.
See, I have my moments with Spags, but I'll go with you guys. Like I have my moment. But you see, you said something interesting. You said Lamar, these guys were blanketed. Lamar had a chance to win that game, and this is typical Lamar. And this is why he's never going to, in my opinion, he may never win a Super Bowl. He had, I think it was Flowers dead open, and I don't know where he was throwing that ball.
No, he was standing in the end zone by himself.
Yeah.
Of course. Yes.
So on that play, step back. I think physically Lamar Jackson is phenomenal.
Oh,
Like,
forget it.
and right. And I think he has a cannon arm because the way he can throw like 80 yards downfield with no effort is unbelievable. My sense is when things get complicated, he tends to run or chuck it. And in the playoffs or in tight games, stuff gets complicated. So
Now,
he's fun to watch.
You call
Yes.
that panic? Would you categorize as that when stuff gets tough, he panics?
I have no idea. I just think my interpretation is more that he goes superhero. What in in basketball we would call hero ball. I think he trusts himself more than anybody else. So if by any chance either the run game is not going because the Ravens usually have a phenomenal run game, or he cannot lean on the tight ends, then he tries and tries to do everything by himself. And you're playing the NFL. That's tough even against the worst team in the league if things are not clicking.
And I mean,
on this, hold on a second, Kev. It's going to sound like I'm knocking Lamar and I'm not a fan. In my opinion, watching that game, and I did watch all 60 minutes, I sat there. I think actually the Chiefs played poor because and I'm going to explain, you take away that fluke touchdown to the tight end, it scores 27-13, and there is no last-second hurrah. So as good as Lamar played, that offense right now does not look capable of really beating any of the top 5 teams in this league, in my opinion. Now, they'll get better. They'll clean it up.
Listen, both those teams are going to get better. That's the scary part.
Yeah.
But
I think the AFC this year, barring injuries, obviously, as always, barring major injuries, I think the AFC this year is really freaking tough. Really tough.
You know what makes football a great game, Marco? I believe we had you on last year, and we talked about all the great quarterbacks on the AFC side of the ball. And wow. Even if the worst AFC team got in, we said, oh, the NFC. And what happened? Rodgers got hurt. Russell Wilson was a bust. Herbert didn't show up as we thought he would. He got hurt, I believe. So you never know from week to week how it's going to look. And it's funny, and in saying that, the Jets fans' motto this year, and I don't know, you're on X like I am, and you see things, maybe you read some of the Jet stuff. The motto this year is, Rodgers just gets to play 5.
Like, just get to play 5.
We're just Arsenal is getting past play 5. It's what it is, getting past play 4, It's Jet law.
But I mean, back to the Chiefs and the Raven game. It just shows you that this game is a game of inches. You get that toe inside the end zone, boom. And Harbaugh was holding up too.
Yeah,
he was going for the
absolutely. I know the same thing. Like, who's gonna go for the win? He was not going to go to overtime. On a Thursday. Like, nope, game 1, I'm going to win this thing.
You gotta love that, though. See, I love that.
Oh, big time.
I was going to ask you because you both answered my question. You love it. I love it when it's not my team. If that was my team, I'm going, no, and I guess against Mahomes, you really don't want to. Yeah, but I guess against Mahomes, you really don't want to give him a crack with that ball again. So you got to go for it there.
Yes, yeah,
right.
So
it's week 1. I think you want to set the tone. Now, if you're there playing for seeding or for a playoff spot, right, a divisional rival,
your mindset's
different. The season, then your mindset is a little different. Yes. And also, it's just like, I think Andy Reid, had we scored a touchdown on our first drive in the Super Bowl overtime, I think had they gone down and scored, I think it would have gone for 2. But it's a lot easier when you've won 2 Super Bowls already, and you're going
playing with house money. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? They're going to call you brave. If you're Kyle Shanahan, you do that and you lose it by 1 point. Can you imagine I'm sorry. So you lost because it's funny that everyone remembers Shanahan losing the Super Bowl to the Patriots. He was not the head coach, but everyone points, to him like, oh God,
Hey,
right?
something like that. If it works, you're a genius.
Of course, of course.
You're the
But
best coach in the world. If it doesn't work, what an idiot.
hold on. Let's go back to something. We both. If I was Harbaugh that night, I was going for the tie, and I know you can
Yeah.
against Mahomes. But you see, Marco, you brought up a point. Oh, if they lose, it's week 1, right? That's what you said, I believe. With perennial playoff teams like the 49ers, the Chiefs, the Ravens, pick a team, Buffalo, you could try that 2-point conversion, and if it doesn't work, you could rebound from that. Let's go.
Overcome. Yes.
Let me ask you guys a question. Not as Jet and 49er fans, you two, just as football guys watching the game. Monday night, Salah wants to go for 2. Smart move or dumb move? This is a team that's never made the playoffs, needs to set the tone. They go for it. They try for the 2. Smart, dumb, otherwise. What's your take? We'll start with you, Marco, and then I'll get your answer, Kev.
So it's your chance. You just basically
Yes.
you would tie the game.
2 points will win the game for us. Or the extra point will tie the game. We go into overtime against the 49ers.
So if
You're
I'm
solid. Yeah.
I would go for it because first of all, like coming out of San Francisco with a win on week 1 on the road against a Super Bowl team, I think what that can do rolling into next Sunday is massive. Mm-hmm. And I think if you lose, I think your team will still believe in you and roll with you, and you can still spin it as in, you know what? That's what brave teams do, courageous teams do. And you know what? It's the 49ers. It's not, it's not one of our AFC rivals. So I think you can spin it that way.
It's an out of tiny. God forbid you lose. It's an out of conference loss, at least, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tiny counter argument to that. Shanahan tends to play very conservative when the going gets tough. So there's an argument that from a tactical standpoint, I think from the psychological standpoint, I would go for it because I think that your team would so buy into it. I would buy into it if right. From a tactical standpoint, I want to maximize my chances of winning the game. I think I would tie it and go into overtime because I think Salah is more aggressive than Kyle Shanahan in general, and you would be more aggressive in overtime, where you would stand with Rodgers and Garrett Wilson and all the weapons you have. You stand just as good, if not better, chance of winning the game and coming home with a win. That's my slight counter argument. From a psychological standpoint, I go. From a tactical standpoint, I would kick it.
See, I think with the team in that locker room going for it, win, lose, or draw, he gets the respect, and that team comes out fighting.
Exactly.
And not that we should care. Media-wise, he would get killed, Salah, and everything that he does, he's going to second guess himself because the media here would kill him. You're going to, and this is my opinion, you're going to hear the media say, oh, he should have tied that game. You have a Hall of Fame quarterback. You have to go get the ball in overtime and try to win that game. You haven't made the playoffs for 13 years. And you know what's going to happen? Salah's going to hear this on every news, every reel, every sports show, and he's going to be hesitant on pulling a big play like that somewhere down the road. I think he.
Yeah, I hear you.
That's my take on it.
Being it New York. You guys obviously know it a million times better than I do. It's such a tough environment for sports franchises, right? It's just I mean the press there must be ruthless.
Yeah.
And as much as I loved Harbaugh holding up the 2 points of it. If that's the situation on Monday night, you got to tie the game. You got to tie the game. You got to tie the game with a Hall of Fame quarterback and the defense you have. You have to tie the game.
You see how I said earlier,
If-
and I
okay.
asked, go ahead.
All right. Now, you go for the 2 points, you make it. Oh, terrific. Everybody, we're going crazy. You miss.
Yeah.
You blew an opportunity to get out of San Francisco with a win.
Yeah.
Well, of course, like you said,
If you
Kevin,
just,
you're a
if you,
genius.
you right. Exactly. My opinion, with Rodgers at quarterback and the offensive weapons you have and the defense you have, you kick the extra point, you tie the game, and let's go to OT.
But just one more thing on that. You see, Marco, if the Jets were like the 49ers, where every year you could win, lose, or draw, every year you could pretty much say 49ers playoff team, Ravens playoff team, Bills. If the Jets were like that, and my coach Solid did that on Monday night, I'd be like, hell's yeah, that's the balls we want. But because for 13 years we've missed the playoffs and only had one season at 500, I'm taking that conservative route because it's bigger to our organization to walk out of there with a win than say, oh, we almost won. It was a great ballsy call, but in the end, we still lost the game.
But we also know this is the Jets, and you line up for the extra point, and Zerline hits the post.
Natural born optimist when it comes to the Jets, right?
Right. The Legatron hits the post, and everybody just stands there. Everybody just stands there looking at it.
Yeah. Well, you see, Marco, how you're hoping that everyone stays healthy and makes a deep run because they're running on fuel. We just want to get to play 5. That's the difference in the organizations. When you're successful, you can do no wrong, even when you do wrong. And with the Jets, we're all holding our breath that,
Although I think there's definitely a lot of psychological pressure on the entire team. Because keep in mind, we haven't won the Super Bowl in 30 years, right?
You're talking about the Jets? 54 years, the year I was born.
But it's been like this past decade. You go to the Super Bowl 3 times. You go to the NFC Championship game 6 times.
6 times. Mm-hmm.
And
can't even imagine.
And you come out with nothing. I think it's tough. Also because let's face it, our team is getting a little older. It's getting older. Trent Williams, 36? Kittle is 30. McCaffrey's 30. How many more years do they have left in the tank? Yes. We have a quarterback on a rookie contract. I'm sorry, minimum rookie contract because he gets paid less than $1 million a year, right?
Yeah.
So as long as Brock Purdy plays at Brock Purdy's levels, I think we're going to be a contender for a bit. But the squad that has taken us all the way, to the Super Bowl or to the NFC Championship game, 4 times the last 5 years, we're going to lose a lot of those players over the next 2 or 3.
And here's another question to you, Marco.
And as far as McCaffrey goes, 30's old for a running back.
Yes, it is. Yes,
my question is this one. When does he have carte blanche to the owner? When does the Shanahan message start to wear thin with the players? When do they start to think, oh, here's another year we didn't win a Super Bowl or does that message out, or does Shanahan have that team so in his grasp that he could go another 10 years with that team?
I don't think that is going to lose a locker room because I think the only people that I hear talk crap about Shanahan are naysayers and clickbaiters around San Francisco.
Okay.
Otherwise, everyone knows that if he get fired, if he quit the Niners today, he would have a job tomorrow. Oh, the guy's a genius, right?
Like
his players know.
True.
I mean, you hear Richard Sherman, that was, a Seahawk forever, and he was with us, 2.5 seasons, basically. He will tell you that he has never had a coach that even comes close to Kyle Shanahan.
And you know what? That's high praise since he played for Pete Carroll, who
Yeah.
Shanahan is kind of the young Pete Carroll at that time, because
Right.
when Pete Carroll was coming up, he was the defensive guru, you know?
Right. And for Harbaugh at Stanford, although from what I understand, there was not great love between the two by the time Sherman got drafted. So I don't think the issue is Shannon losing the locker room. I don't think it's an issue of, you know, the ownership or the front office losing faith. Also because, yes, we haven't won the ring, but the amount of money that the 49ers are making from just continuing to play deep into the postseasons, that's millions and millions. So I think from that standpoint, so from a franchise value standpoint, and therefore the shareholders, I think the family is more than happy. Now, clearly they want to win, but I don't think, I mean, it would take a string of really bad seasons for a change, like a drastic change of leadership, I think, in San Francisco.
Okay.
I just think that it might be that the window we have now might close for a bit, which might still make us a good team. I just don't know if we don't get it over the next couple of years, we might get into a bit of a lull, and then you need sort of to not go into full reload, but retool for sure. Because
and that's the question. So, in your opinion, Shanahan done enough to stay around for a second rebuild or a retool?
Oh yeah, especially with, I mean, they got so good and so lucky with Brock Purdy.
Imagine having a coach like that and a coaching staff. Greg, I'm asking you, like, can you imagine?
You see, the only reason why I brought it up, Kev, because that's how we felt as Jet fans with Rex Ryan. So my question is, those 2 years under Rex were fantastic. Did Rex shoot himself in the foot by putting Sanchez in a meaningless playoff game, or did ownership and upper management lose faith in him? Because it didn't seem like the players did, you know.
You know, I think, and, you know, I'm an outsider. I don't know. I mean, I go to Santa Clara once a year to watch a game. So it's not that I have very live feel for the situation. But going back, and you guys have no reason to, you know, really have paid attention to this. But so at the end of the Harbaugh years, you know, we went to the Super Bowl, lost to the Ravens in that crazy games, you know, when the lights went out.
The lights went out,
yeah. And then we had, you know, first and goal on their 5, and then a bunch of like weird stuff happened, and we managed to lose that game, right? Then the following year, I think the true Super Bowl was Seahawks Niners in Seattle, and it wasn't even a battle. It was a war, right? One of the most intense games I've ever seen. We lost another key linebacker that went through a gruesome injury in the championship game. And then, you know, Seattle just sort of steamrolled Denver in the Super Bowl, right? Now, we thought, great, we're going to be, you know, it's fine. We're going to get some players back, and we're going to go at it again. Now, the following season, we ended 8-8, and our general manager at the time, who's now with the Jacksonville Jaguars, basically went to ownership and said, you know, this is not working. We need to basically. But Harbaugh got fired, quit, call it what you will. But that now we find ourselves without the head coach that has such a fantastic, you know, record with us. And what did they do? We had a bunch of players that retired. Like our defense, like wiped out. We promote a defensive line coach to head coach. And it was the worst show I had seen in ages. That doesn't work. We fire the guy again, and we get Chip Kelly. And 2-12. He was so bad, he couldn't even get the number 1 pick. We managed to get the second pick, right, in the draft. And
like Jet East.
What's that?
Sounds a little like Jets East.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I'm sitting here listening to this. I'm like, oh my God, this sounds familiar.
So I think that the biggest difference is at that point when Jet York hired Lynch and Shanahan, the way I've seen him manage the team as a CEO, this is someone who says, I learned my lessons, and now I know how hard it is to find a great GM coach combo.
Sure.
Not only that, we seem to be able to sort of groom OCs, DCs that become coaches somewhere else. So
Coaching tree,
right? Tree, yeah.
Yeah.
So will it happen? Maybe at some point, but I think for now it would look like a suicidal move from 49ers ownership.
But you see how
the only thing that's stopping
about...
this team right now is Father Time. Stopping is in being competitive, clearly winning. Well, we haven't really won the big one. So.
But you see how you said, from ownership down, everyone's got to be under that blanket.
Yeah.
This is just my opinion. You could talk to 10 other Jet fans, they'll get 10 different answers. This is the first year I feel like Saleh is given the reins to coach the way he wants to coach. This, and again, I probably say this every year, but watching this team this year, it's a deep squad. I don't worry about our 8th D lineman coming into the game because I think he could be a force. And I was bringing this up to Kevin earlier. I feel for a change. They've learned. Saleh has finally grown up as a coach because he's not taking a guy because he's a fan favorite or he likes him. And the perfect example is this guy, Tanzel Smart, who all the Jet fans were up in arms that he wasn't on the team. He didn't make the practice squad. You know what? We can't carry a fan favorite because he said something funny last year on Hard Knocks. We need to have guys who that if one goes down, 2's ready. And if 2 goes down, 3's ready. And I finally feel that this year he's finally got it right. No more picking a favorite, a guy we like, Like even when Mr. Irrelevant got cut, Marco, some fans were up in arms. Seriously? And then when he got put back on the practice squad, people were like, yay. I don't know what Mr. Irrelevant's going to be. Did he earn that practice squad spot? I don't think so, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong,
A couple times this year, I have to say, Saleh has kind of lamented some of the stuff that went on last year and how he handled things. I mean, there was a huge rumor he didn't like the quarterback as much as he talked him up all the time and everything. I mean, okay, it's on his team. He's got to talk him up.
But, Kev, I don't mean to leave Marco just saying, but Kev, we knew that was Woody's decision. Woody wanted that Mahomes type of quarterback. And I'm going to sit here till my dying day and call me crazy that if this team 4 years ago would have just took that #1 pick and traded it and helped Sam out better. And Marco, I'm only saying this because you see how Zach Wilson left us, went to Denver. He's the 3rd string. For some reason, Sam always seems to wind up on his feet. So there is some smarts there. He's starting Sunday with the Vikings. He's played for the 49ers, not as a starter, but he played. Shanahan liked him enough to see that he's the 2nd best quarterback on that team. There's something about this kid that guys like. Give him the chance. The Jets had a chance to sell that #1 pick, #2, for a boatload of talent to help Sam out, and they did it. And we sat through Zach for
it was like
54 games of shit.
Dude, we traded 3 picks.
Yeah, you went through
for someone. For someone, and I wish that young man so much luck. He's gone through so much already, right? But you saw him even like during the preseason with the Cowboys. Like, I have no idea. Exactly. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Who saw what in that young man? Because how many stars did they have? College.
One starting.
Right, and you want to hand him the key, but you're not absolutely convinced because you're telling Garoppolo you're still going to be the starter and groom this guy, which was awkward to say the least. So you don't think is really ready. But I think his raw talent is something that we haven't seen. And then when I think about what we could have done with those 3 picks,
Yeah, yeah,
first
Yeah.
rounders with an aging team.
yeah.
But you know what? And then I zip my mouth because we hit pay dirt with, you know, the pick 167.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
the hell do I know?
that's how it works sometimes. Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick, so
Oh, look, the game.
Joe
So,
Montana, Doug Flutie, we could
but I
go
mean,
on. Yeah.
but I remember because when Trey broke his ankle against the Seahawks, I was here in Italy, and you know, I'm like, thank God that at least we have Jimmy as backup, right? Knows the system. Okay, he can drive us mad from time to time, but he's a competent quarterback and he works well in our system. And you know, we win that game, and then like Garoppolo plays probably his best football under Shanahan for those 4 or 5 games after, with one exception. The following week, after stepping in for Trey, we traveled to Denver, and he is atrocious. Like, we lose to Denver, that was probably at the time the worst team in the league, right? But then we go on a roll. When we play Miami, I was actually back in California, and I remember I watched Garoppolo get hurt, and then we had to leave because we had some family commitment. And I'm like, Brock Purdy's coming in. I'm like, you know, season's over. And I'm there just checking, not even the score. I am checking what's the feedback on Garoppolo's injury. Like, can he come back? Is he out for 2 games? Is this serious or not? And then I saw the score. Like, you know what? 1 game, right? Miami was not prepared. It happens, right? Is this kid for real?
Yeah.
And then you watch him the full start against the Bucs. You have Brady on the other side.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
but you know what? 2 games.
Yeah.
Can't lose. 3, right? 4. He goes on a run. And I don't know if he doesn't get injured with the Eagles and in Philly. I don't know how that gets. I have no idea because the Eagles. I don't know. The Eagles were a freaking juggernaut that year.
No,
so
I know.
I'm optimistic, maybe, but it's a tough environment because playing in Philly, that's hell. And they were so good. But you know, if Hassan Reddick doesn't force fumble on that very, very early play, you know, you watch the all 22. Yes, if he doesn't get hit, like Brandon Ayuk has like 1 yard from the cornerback, they were saying that was a touch. I have no idea. All I know is that that Reddick got there, and do you know where he got there? From the right hand side.
Let's hope he gets there again Monday night.
But we just made a.
Please don't hurt him, though. If you're like sack him, please don't hurt him.
Marco, great way to bring it full circle. That was perfect. We started and ended. But what I wanted to say to you, the reason why I thought if Purdy didn't get hurt, you guys win, and you'll correct me, wasn't Purdy at that time in that moment was 17-1 as a starter? Something like that. Like, he had ridiculous starting.
Purdy? It was he had not lost the game yet.
Something like that.
It was, I think it was 9-0.
Okay, something like that. Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, I thought it was something way. But the thing is, sometimes
I think we won the last eight games and then won another 2. Yeah, I think it was 10-0 as a starter, something like that.
You know what you gotta like about guys like Purdy, and before he became who he became, guys like Bledsoe and Montana, they're drafted so late, they don't know what they're not supposed to know. Like, when you're number 1, you're thinking too much. I'm the best. I got this. When you go in as the, you could say, you know what? I'm just going to worry about me, do what I know I could do. And if they like it, they like it. And those are the guys that seem to rise to the creme de la creme. And, you know,
I think Brock, watching him play, and clearly watching interviews and whatnot, I think so. He does not have the strongest arm, right? It's not Aaron Rodgers, it's not Mahomes. But one thing to keep in mind is this young man played 4 years of college, He played great in college, right? Made Iowa State a competitive team when they had won nothing before him, basically. So played in a tough conference in tough situations. He's also a real student of the game, the opposite of what you hear about Kyler Murray, that they want to force him to read the playbook and watch tape. He's probably the opposite, right? He's a junkie.
Yeah.
And the other thing that he has in this, I read that when he steps onto the field, they have measurables and everything. Right? His heart rate actually comes down. So you want to talk about someone who can be cool under pressure, and he seems like nothing rocks the guy. And I think in a system like ours, where you rely on the quarterback to basically be the executor or executor, and I'll never remember where the accent goes. Shanahan's mind. Shanahan thinks the play, you got to execute it.
Yeah.
Right. And he's an extension of Kyle.
Yeah.
And right. So it's not you. No one wants you to play hero ball. No one. So you're in the perfect system because you don't
within the game, man.
Stay within the game, especially with the weapons you have.
You see, Marco, everything because this is a Jet podcast, I'm gonna compare Purdy to a Jet player. If it was any other podcast, everything you said about Purdy, the arm's not strong, football IQ is high. He's Chad Pennington.
And that's what I was just going to say. I just said Chad Pennington.
Around him, Pennington might win a Super Bowl with this Jet team because his IQ was off the charts. He knew what everyone, all 11 players on that field, 10, but he knew what they were supposed to do. He even knew what his defensive players were supposed to do, watching from the sideline. And that's what Purdy reminds me to me. Yep. Smarts, high IQ.
Just like Montana
was a smart guy anyway.
Montana had the brain. Yep.
Yeah, and that's what because you said, and the reason why I brought Pennington up, because what you just said about Purdy, not the strongest arm, was what everyone killed Pennington about. Oh, spaghetti arm. We heard spaghetti arm. That's why one game when he threw the 50-yard bomb, he flexed to give all the reporters and said, "I'll show you spaghetti."
Yep.
Sticks.
I remember a game in San Diego, right? Against the Chargers. It might have been a playoff game. I'm trying to remember.
He threw the bomb to Dedrick Water, Santana. It was one of the Yep.
Santana Moss, I think. Yes.
Santana Moss. Oh, we're going back, guys.
Yeah.
Santana.
Well, hey, we have to go back for anything good.
Yeah.
So.
It's been 13 years. Marco, you've been a great guest before. I know you're gonna stay around and do picks with us, but I have my big question for you, and it might take you some time to answer. It's a two-part. I want you to give me 3 reasons you'll win on Monday night, 3 reasons why you'll lose. I know you're a fan. It's hard to say why you're gonna lose, but for the sake of the podcast, what is your 3 reasons to win?
I think that's fair. I mean, these are 2 excellent teams on paper, right? So, and week 1 is always a quirky one, right? You see stuff. I try not to extrapolate that much.
Yeah, one's an extension of preseason. Yeah, it's an extension of preseason.
Yeah, I mean, I remember
2 games now is.
I mean, when we started under Chip Kelly, we beat the Rams 28-0.
Okay.
I'm like, wow, this is a good team. We didn't lose the game until the last game of the season against the Rams again. So, week 1 is always
weird. Yes.
Right. And again, we're going off of what's on paper because I haven't really seen Aaron Rodgers with Garrett Wilson. Right.
None of us have.
Right. I think your running back is Jesus Christ. He's something special.
Yeah.
Right?
Agree.
I agree.
And now he has a good O-line to run behind, a real good O-line.
Which honestly, I remember watching Hard Knocks last year. I mean, the number of complaints about the O-line, even during training camp, was right. So,
I mean, my favorite player on our team is Breece Hall. So,
all right, Breece is something special. So I think the keys to victory for the two teams are, let's start with our guys. If we can pick up where we left off, right? Considering that the secondary right now, as I said previously in the show, is the best secondary Shanahan has ever had. I also think that our defensive coordinator is better suited to our system than who we had last year.
Yeah.
I think if we pick up where we left off, and not during the playoffs, during the end of the regular season, at home on a Monday night, I think we're tough to beat. Not just for the Jets,
I
but
agree.
for
I
anybody.
agree.
For anybody. I think where our weaknesses are right now, and we haven't seen your guys play together, so there's a bunch of unknowns. Are Garrett and Reese and Rodgers all on the same page? Is 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers fully healed? Has he fully recovered? Like, can he sustain hits? Because chances are he's gonna get sacked, right? Or at least
absolutely.
hit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And he's gonna have to take off at one point, So
Or he's gonna have to throw the ball away. He's gonna have to throw the ball away.
Is it gonna chuck it? So with all these unknowns, I think again we go back to another point that we raised together previously. Greenlaw is not there. So our linebackers, Fred Warner is a stud. He's probably the best linebacker in the game, but is playing with a new partner. And Campbell, coming from the Packers, has had stellar years, but last year he wasn't that good, and right, and something happened, and then you have the factor rookies, right? So I think the middle of our field can be attacked.
Okay.
Right.
Interesting.
The second part is, can we get Debo and McCaffrey going? And I don't want to jinx him. My concern is McCaffrey has been phenomenal and super healthy since he joined us. He has not really trained a lot because he had a calf and Achilles inflammation. Can he go? Because we have seen our offense with the game plan, and if we game plan and everyone is healthy, we're really tough to stop. I don't care how good your defense is, we're really tough to stop. If one of these guys goes down and we don't really have a backup for them, and again, nothing against I think our like a receiver core overall better than last year, and our backup running back is a truck. But he's a truck, is not CMC. So if by any chance one of those guys is not available for the entire game, our chances of winning go from here to here.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Does that sort of address the question?
No.
If we were at game 7, I could be a bit more specific about where I think we are.
Of course.
It's week 1.
Everything's a crapshoot. Everything's a crapshoot right now.
The reason why I'm so optimistic that we're gonna have a decent season, not because of the rose-colored glasses, because 25 years ago we played you guys. 1999, you beat us in overtime. The famous
Garrison Hurst.
Oh yeah, that 99-yard,
yeah. But
Garrison
two things
Hurst
happened that year, Marco. We've changed our uniform for 99, just like we did this year. Okay, and we won our division and went 12-4 that year, all for your loss. So that's on me optimistic, and that's the record I see the Jets having again. I'm hoping this year 12-5.
Glenn Foley started the first 2 games that season, and I remember Parcells sitting there saying, "When you're 0-2, you don't know if you're ever going to win another game."
Yeah,
and the next week, that was it. Testaverde started, and it took off.
Yeah, it took off. Right. Yep. Marco,
So,
excellent.
We go back to the first couple of weeks, you really don't know. So my for the first time in a while, I am more pessimistic than optimistic on our season.
Same here.
I think our division is tough.
Yeah. When's it
Um,
not, but when's it not? Division.
True.
And I mean,
yours is tougher. Because
I believe-
the Bills in Miami, and
I believe it was Steve Young that said the first 4 weeks in the NFL are an extension of preseason. He said, if you can go 2-2, you're in
Yeah.
good shape. If you can go 3-1, phenomenal.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
it's a
we always-
crapshoot. The first
we
couple
always
weeks is a
wanted-
crapshoot.
Kevin, we always butt heads on this. I still think it was Belichick who said that.
I'm telling you, it was Steve Young.
Guys, we 3 years ago, me and you going back and we haven't done the research to see who really said it. But anyway, well, we said, Morgan, this is a fun
Well,
show.
I figured we'd have Marco on, so I'd keep it with the 49.
I appreciate that. I'll go with Steve Young.
But it's the truth.
I'll go with Kevin
You know, for it.
because it's Steve.
I figured Marco was going to take Kevin's side because I'm constantly disagreeing him on his glam metal picks, but that will save those for another day.
That's a
another
different
show.
conversation, Greg. That's a completely
Mark, I do have to give you a little. I know this is a podcast, but your knowledge of that scene. Have you ever thought about writing a book, Marco? Your stuff is legendary. Like the stuff that you pull
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
I
But
thought I had a lot of knowledge on that, but the memorabilia and the bands you
It's-
pull out.
yeah, it's very narrow, right? It was really, yeah. Oh my God,
Seriously, like if
that
you
was
ever
fun.
thought about doing a metal podcast or a glam, I will come on any day, anytime. Yeah, Kevin. Well,
I think you and I need to get on with Mike and not talk football because of Seahawks fan, but we need to get on Metal Mike together and talk about those days.
Yeah, because I love the scene, and my collection of rarities is great, but the stuff that you pull out, like I want to just choke you because every time I think I won up, you something that I
dude, you pull out CDs that I didn't even know existed. Like, so
yeah,
he does,
right? Don't you think?
Like the stuff you pull out, like the memorabilia, and that was my only downfall. Living in a small apartment all my life, I couldn't save this stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So I looked at it and said, "Oh, when am I ever going to need this again?"
Yeah.
But like the stuff you come up with, I'm like, he grabbed this from, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to admit to you, I love you." So I could admit, Herschel, I just come up with some. Anyway, you ready to do some picks with us, Marco?
Yes,
let's get to the picks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So here
For
we go.
week 1 in the league where they play for pay. Let's go.
Yeah, here we go.
I'm gonna pick the Chiefs over the Ravens, and the Eagles over the Pats.
Eagles over.
There you go. So you're already 2-0.
Let me know how
I had the same thing.
You did, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're all 2-0 right now. Okay.
There you go. Everyone's 2-0. So here we go.
So
1
good.
o'clock. 1 o'clock. Pittsburgh at Atlanta. Who do you have, Marco? And give us a little reason why you have the team.
I think so. Russell Wilson apparently is not playing.
That's what we're hearing. 90% chance he's not going to play.
He's not playing. It was already, I think, the worst quarterback room in the league, possibly.
Yes.
Even if they have a lot of talent and TJ Watt can do,
incredible things.
Right. Yes. Can rack offenses by himself. I think a loaded or reloaded Atlanta team with a super competent quarterback, assuming he's healthy, because again, we don't know how Kirk has recovered. I would pick Atlanta from these guys.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one as well, because I don't trust the Steelers quarterback room at all. At all.
No. Give me the Falcons.
Yeah.
So
all right,
Falcons
so we're
for
all
you
on
too,
that
Greg?
one.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I'm also with the Falcons. Sorry, Kevin. I jumped ship. I went ahead of you. Sorry. Yeah, I'm also with the Falcons. I think that Falcons are going to surprise a lot of teams this year. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs, but I think they'll surprise a lot of teams this year.
I agree.
Okay, I think this is another game, unless you guys could convince
Yeah.
me otherwise, that we'll all be unanimous on. Arizona traveling to Buffalo. Do we need to say
mean,
anything?
No,
Look, the only thing I can say is I like, because you can imagine I spend a bit more time with teams that are in my division, right?
Yes,
I
of
think they're
course.
trending in the right direction. I think it will be so much fun to see their young wide receiver with Kyler Murray. I think they did a lot on the offensive line. I think they have a lot of, I mean, their running back is a monster,
Mhm.
but I think it's a young defense. They travel to Buffalo. It's Buffalo.
It's opening day.
Right, opening day. Upsets can happen at any Sunday on any game, but this would be a massive one for me. So I'd go Buffalo.
Yeah.
me,
Go ahead, Kev.
me too. I mean, note Stephon Diggs, right? His favorite target, but it's not going to matter. It's opening week in Buffalo. The place is gonna be rocking. Give me the Bills.
I think
Yeah.
it's anything goes it and on any given Sunday, but yeah.
Allen's gonna rush for a touchdown. The place is gonna be insane. So
Yeah.
Like Marco said, he knows more about the Cardinals being there in his division. I think if you're ever going to beat Buffalo, it is probably week 1, but I think this is a tall order. If this game was in Arizona, I might say Arizona.
Right.
Because I think if you're going to beat Buffalo, it's week 1. And of course, we don't judge preseason, but Buffalo did not look good in preseason. But I think they'll do enough to beat Arizona this week. And so, again, we're all across the board, same team.
Yep.
Next game in the 1 o'clock, we have Tennessee and Chicago. Is Chicago for real, guys?
But that's so
they could be.
Let me put it this way. I think the number 1 pick at quarterback on opening day, I think the record is like 1-14-1.
Wow. Okay.
So Caleb, like from a statistical standpoint, he almost doesn't stand a chance. Tennessee, we played them in the preseason. Their supposedly strong defense struggled against our second and third stringers. This one is one of those that we'll see, because maybe instead Tennessee, is much better than it looked. Because again, I don't follow them that closely.
Yeah, me neither. I'm with
preseason. Who cares? But if there is a starting quarterback that has the chance, a first-time starter, rookie, number 1 pick that has a chance to sort of change that trend a little bit, is Caleb Williams. So I would give the Bears here the edge. But
okay. Kev, are you with him on that?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. So again,
I say the Bears are for real.
Wow. They say that defense is stacked. They say that defense, and he's got weapons at wide receiver now. So this is going to be fun.
Green Bay lost last night. We don't know what's going to happen down at MetLife on Sunday. So this is an opportunity for the Bears to jump out.
Guys, before we go on to the next game, any word on Love and his injury?
Does
anyone know?
No.
They haven't said yet, and we probably won't. I'm assuming.
No, we won't know until they got to run an MRI before they say anything. It looked bad though.
It looked bad. The question is, Kev, do they want to keep him in Brazil to run this MRI, or are they going to risk putting him on a flight, risk that leg getting swollen? I don't know how. So right now, there's no word on it. So hopefully, we know sometime today.
So are you Bears also?
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. I mean, let me tell you something. If the Bears don't win on their home field with their starting quarterback against Tennessee, and again, I don't know much about Tennessee, so this might be unfair of me. The Bears are never going to win anything if they don't win this game.
I agree.
That's my take. I think this is another easy one. I think we probably have it across the board. New England at the Bengals.
Okay, the only thing that can stop the Bengals from winning is some Jamar Chase crazy drama that trickles down to the locker room. Everybody goes nuts. Burrow has forgotten how to play. Or I don't know, like really Drake May plays lights out and Jacoby Brissett is not starting. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's another one of those where, yes, fluke games can happen, and we've seen insane stuff before, but this is me, it's another no-brainer.
No,
Yeah.
it's not even going to be close. Not even going to
No.
be close.
Yeah, I was going to say, as stupid as this sounds, the only one who could beat the Bengals in this game is the Bengals.
It's the Bengals.
Yeah. But
Yep.
let me ask you guys a question. Are we buying into what everyone is saying, that New England is going to be the worst team in this league?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Uh, d-
I don't
d-
know. I would think so. What
I
we've seen
I
so
think
far, but
I think them and Carolina are going to be right there with each other.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
Okay.
tough to argue unless really they caught like they selected 3-4 players that you don't expect that are just future
Mhm.
superstars.
Yep.
I don't know.
Sounds
Wow.
good.
You realize we've agreed on every game so
Yeah,
far?
no,
all
I
three of
said-
us?
But I
Which
think
means that we're going to be so wrong.
Yeah,
I know.
everyone's going to be wrong.
I think this next game is where we'll probably go off into different, maybe, who knows? Because I think this team right now gets too much credit at being a top team. And that's Houston versus Indianapolis at Indianapolis, 1:00 on Sunday. Who do we got, boys?
Okay, I'm voting with my heart, and Houston is the San Francisco 49ers on the Gulf. I'm going to Houston because I'm a big fan of so many of their players, and obviously the Mika Ryans. But it's going to be interesting to see these two young quarterbacks battle it out. And I think the Colts are a lot better than people think. I will pick Houston, but this is not going to be a cakewalk, I don't think. Unless the Texans are so good that we watch them play and go, that is a Super Bowl contender right now.
Marco, how about this? Houston, and again, it's going to be how the coach is coaching them. Houston buys into all this hype and think they're one of those teams now who could lay their helmet
That's
on
always
the
the
field.
risk.
And
we've seen, I don't know, we've seen a lot of young quarterbacks sort of catch fire in their first season. And then for some, the game slows down, they get better. And for some, they start seeing ghosts because people or DCs start having more film on their quirks.
Exactly. The book is out on them.
Or they just have a bad game. They throw 3 picks. All of a sudden, their confidence wavers a bit. So, trajectories are never linear in the NFL.
No, of course.
And the sophomore slump is a thing. So I don't know. But
I'm just wondering, as he becomes so cocky now that he feels, all I got to do is go out there. Everyone thinks I'm the next Brady. I'm the next Manning. I'm the next this. And I
hope he's surrounded by people that kind of whisper in his ears, memento mori, and just
no, I hear you.
I hear you at all. So
Kevin,
I'll go Texans.
Okay, Texans.
To me, this game is a toss-up. I mean, but I got to take the quarterback and the established quarterback. So give me the Texans. I mean, but it could go either way, honestly.
Okay. Yeah. Now, I went off on this little, Houston, blah, blah, blah. I'm taking them too. But the one thing that scares me about the Colts is that how that locker room is feeling about the coaching staff and the GM. And I say this because I'm sure you guys know the GM had his draft, 7 picks, 8 picks, and 3 of those picks did not make the team, did not make the practice squad.
What does that tell you?
What's that?
What does that tell you?
That's what I'm saying. As a player, I'm thinking, my God, they didn't even bring in the right players. How am I supposed to go to war when I don't even have faith in this staff and this GM?
No do-overs.
Is that just me? Am I making more out of it than what it is?
I think on week one, we might be overthinking it a little bit. I think players right now they are ready, rearing to go, super geared up. Finally, real football's here. I think if they started having some bad games, then stuff gets into their heads. Right now, I think they had such a great season last year. I think they have so much confidence in their quarterback and in DeMeco Ryans that they'll go to battle for him, and then I think they'll stay on that trajectory. I think it's a little early for those thoughts to sort of be in players' minds, especially for the vets.
When you're the Colts and you realize that I believe it was their top 3 picks, you want these guys to come in and fill in the holes to make you take those next steps, and you're not going to have them now. It's got to be tough on a team to say, we thought we were bringing in players to help us take that next step, and they weren't even good enough to make the squad.
Sorry, I went the other way. I still think, but even I think even for I completely misunderstood. I had flipped it. But I think even if you're part of the Colts, look, it's clear their GM has been in every paper about the disaster that have been unfortunately brought upon the team with quarterback selections and whatnot, right? How this didn't work and that didn't work. So I don't think it's anything new under the sun.
Okay.
Right. If you think about it, I read articles in The Athletic even last year about the umpteenth sort of meltdown. You remember 2 years ago, they had almost a 90% chance of making the playoffs. They had to completely blow the very end of the season. They managed to do it, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So is the GM the hot seat? Probably. Is it something new? Not really. I think I go back to it's week 1. Players are ready to play. They want to go out there and hit people. 3 games down the road, they lose badly. Everything. What I said, I think from a psychological standpoint, what I said for the Texans works for these guys as well. Is it shakier? For sure, because they now come from a winning season. But I think right now it would be a little early.
Okay. All right. We ready to move on, guys? So this is another game I thought we were going to have a little change, but we're all across the board.
Yep.
Jackson versus Miami at Miami. I know where Kevin's going because he hates this team with a passion. So
I understand that, but I think even Duval County thinks that they're going there and playing with house money. They have a good team, but it's a long season. I don't think they go there thinking we're gonna beat on Miami. But if there is a way, we go back. It's week 1. And the Jaguars have a solid team. Now, I trust Miami's coach. I don't trust Tua that much. I think you never know which version of Tua is going to be on the field. But, the receivers are freaking phenomenal, right? Raheem Mostert is unbelievable.
Yeah.
How do you stop that speed? I have no idea. I am picking Miami with the asterisk that it's last year. Can I remind you that the Jaguars beat the Chiefs early in the season, right?
Yeah.
Week 2, I think.
Yeah.
Week 3. So can they travel to Miami and beat them? Yes, they can.
Yeah.
I think Miami is going to lose the opener at home with, I don't think so. So I'll go Miami.
Okay. I mean, you're going Jacksonville, right?
Listen, Jaguars are a 3.5 point dog. If I was taking the points, I'd take the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Miami at home, opening day. Place is going to be, I'm liking the home teams really on opening day. Which I'm going to Marco, I'm going to surprise you when we get to our game. So,
I'm going to surprise you.
Okay.
But how do you not take Hill?
The Dolphins?
At home.
Yeah. With 5,000 people in attendance, because that's kind of Miami, right?
Guys, this is scary. We're all in agreement on all these games. Something's got to give, and I don't think it's given this game. Carolina at New Orleans.
Oh Jesus, yeah. I mean, unless Carr forgets to show up.
He forgets how to play. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And thinks it's Saturday or Friday and goes to practice like a facility instead of, right? I mean,
Yeah.
has to be.
I'm right there with you. Right there.
All the
Alright,
love in the world for Carolina, but this is
Yeah.
nonsense to lose. So I'll go Saints.
Yeah. Same here. Same here.
Yep. So we're all the Saints. Wow. Minnesota at the New York Giants. I'll
Oh,
start.
Jesus.
I'm just gonna say it right out there because you know how I feel with Sam D. I'm taking the Vikings. I'll let you two discuss.
I'm taking the Vikings too.
Wow, you are okay.
Oh yeah.
All right.
As much of it, the only thing that I can't believe they've probably been the unlucky when it comes to injuries. I was looking at the stats. They have probably been the least lucky team in the past like 20 years or something. Because not only do they get injured, it's key players that get injured. But I like Sam. I think it's not clear to me what the hell is going on in on the other side of the city for you guys.
Yeah.
I think if there could be a little bit of a upset home versus away team, this might be it. So I'll go Vikings because I like him better than the Giants.
Okay. Kev?
Sam to Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
With a 60-yard bomb to set them up at the 25.
We would love to see that.
To set them up at the 25-yard line to kick the game-winning field goal.
I like it.
Give me
Especially
the
because we traveled there for week 2, and I would be happy for them, to be 1-1 at the end of the.
Give me the Vikings.
Wow.
Yeah. And the Giant fans go home like this.
Yeah.
Wow.
The game's right there, and Sam sticks the
I love
knife
it to JJ. Yeah.
Yes.
Very nice. All right, we move into the 4:00 games. Raiders at the Chargers. Is this a new Raider team? Is this their year? Do they
Gardner
make the playoffs?
Gardner Minshew.
I'm still mad at the Chargers for leaving San Diego. It's always Justin Herbert's season next season, but he does have a great new coach. I can't stand the Raiders for a number of reasons. I cannot go against the Chargers and in favor of the Raiders. So I'm gonna pick the Chargers. But this is another one of those that I think it can go either way. The Chargers team could completely forget to show up. Before we said we talked about Derek Carr here. Knowing the Chargers, they might travel to San Diego and forget about the fact that they're supposed to play in LA. So
is Justin back? Is Justin up and running?
I think so. I think he's good to go.
I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, well, it is not. I think if he plays and they're cleared him to play,
okay,
which I think is everyone hopes, then I pick the Chargers. If it's not there, then they stand no chance.
Kevin?
Give me Gardner Minshew, Devontae
Adams,
and the Raiders.
I'm with you, Kev. I got the Raiders too. I think that defense is what's going to keep them in a lot of games. I don't know how many they're going to win. They might be a 7-10 team like the Jets were because of the defense, but I'm going to take the Raiders.
Same here.
All right. Denver at Seattle.
I'll take Seattle. It pains me to say it, but I don't see how Denver can beat Seattle in that stadium.
Not with Bo Nix playing quarterback. No,
I really don't see it. And I think actually the Seahawks, they will live and die by Geno Smith. I also think that we'll see how good Geno is. I think he played a punch above his weight for the past couple of seasons. So I think he's a competent quarterback. I don't think he's a great quarterback. But he has a ton of weapons. I think he has a new great coach. And I think they have a lot of talent on defense as well. So
yeah.
Did we lose Greg for a second?
We lost Greg, yeah. I don't know what happened.
well. What's your take?
My take is the Seahawks. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
I mean, how can you go against the 12th man? How can you go against,
Yeah.
Gino?
Here he is.
You're back. You're back. Hello.
Everyone there?
Yeah, we're
You
here.
all good?
We both
All
got
right.
the Seahawks. What about you?
I got the Seahawks as well.
Yeah.
Okay. And we move on now to Dallas at Cleveland. Uh-oh. Is this the game?
Do I really need to pick, or does it go without saying for me? Do I really need to comment, say anything, or can we just go with it?
Can we just skip this?
Yeah, can we just skip it? Because
I know you. So I'm taking it you like Cleveland, so you trust Deshaun Watson over Dak?
no, I don't. I mean, I don't think anyone trusts Deshaun Watson, especially
You just hate Dallas so much you can't do
I would
it.
take anyone over Dallas. No, I actually, but again, kid inside, I think Cleveland is a great fucking team.
Yeah.
And that's a loud environment. Now, I also think that one of the a lot of, especially their fan base, complained a lot about Dallas not doing much this offseason. They didn't need to do much. I mean, they have such a stacked roster. So I think, and it's the same team. So, right, used to play together. I think Dak is a great quarterback and everything. I just can't pick the Cowboys. So I'll pick Cleveland at home. Yeah, I'll go with the Browns.
Kevin, you in agreement? Browns as well?
Myles Garrett puts a hurting on Dak.
Okay, so we're across the board on that one. Let's move on. Washington at Tampa Bay. Is Washington one of those teams on the rise who could shock enough people to slip into the playoffs?
I don't think so. That division is tough. I think it's going to be really hard. They just retool, new GM, new everything one more time. Yes, it's scary Terry. Yes, there's talent here and there, but I actually think that the Bucs are a really solid team, even if not, it might not be a spectacular team, but it's a very solid team. Their home turf. They again, players that have been in their system for a bit. Their quarterback might not be what the Browns thought he was going to be, but it's still super solid. So I'll go Bucs. I don't see how Washington takes that.
Same here. Give me Baker, Mike Evans, all
exactly.
that.
Okay, so across the board, we all like Tampa Bay. Yep. Sunday night game could be one of the great ones we'll be talking about on Monday. Rams at Detroit. Detroit is for real.
So if this was at SoFi, I would be ready to give the Rams a shot because I think their offense, especially while they're still healthy, because I don't know how long Stafford's going to last this season. I don't know because he's getting old and Cooper Kupp that's getting dinged up. But right now, I think they're fantastic. Defense, I'm not sure. It'll be interesting. But I'm picking Detroit because I actually think Detroit is the best team in the NFC right now.
I'm with you on that one. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah,
I too am. Yeah. Detroit across the board.
Yep. Give me the Lions. Stafford. They're going to get that taste out of their mouth from the NFC Championship game. So
exactly. Yeah.
So before we pick the closing night act, the headliner, we only disagree on one game. Will this be the second game?
No,
Marco?
I don't think so.
Who do you got?
On Monday night, I'm picking the Jets.
Really?
Yeah.
Is this where you try to root for the other team?
No, I actually.
It's a reverse psychology.
It's been no. It's been a very weird off season. I think it's been very weird vibe throughout training camp. Okay. Players that ultimately, the starters of ours that will contribute down the stretch that have not trained with the team. I just don't know if we're going to be mentally ready to go. And on top of that, except for last year and 2019, which were our Super Bowl runs, we start slow. I think
Yeah.
you guys are gonna come to Santa Clara with fire under your butts. You're still, I mean, you're still feeling probably, you know, opening night last season.
Mhm.
Aaron Rodgers by now hates the 49ers. I mean, he's never won a playoff games against us. I don't know. There's been you remember even the skirmishes between our cornerback and your cornerback over the Super Bowl. I think you guys are going to be prepared. I think Sally knows Kyle Shanahan. I think I'm picking the Jets.
Wow. Kevin?
Well, the fact that none of our players played in preseason, Rodgers coming off the Achilles in San Francisco, Monday night under the lights. I got to take the 49ers here. I got to take the 49ers.
So you're doing what? Okay, Kevin. I get it. So we're
Yeah.
all right.
No, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Like we talked about before, Rodgers coming off the Achilles. If all of a sudden the protection breaks down, can he take off running? Can he take off running? Is he going to take off running? And all of a sudden, oh God, something else goes.
Or just protect himself. Yeah, and therefore miss some plays that turns into sacks. Yeah, it's what we said in the beginning.
I mean, I think honestly, I think it's going to be a close game. I took the Jets getting 5.5 points at the beginning, so I think it's a field goal game.
I actually think if it's a close game, you guys are going to win it because you're going to be hungrier. If it's the 49ers that I have seen last year, it's not going to be close because it's at home with our offense and your guys still trying to, to adjust. It's been like new season, everything. So I think it's either, I don't know, something like 24-21 in your favor, or it's going to be 35-17 in our favor. I think those are two outcomes that I see. Either we are the juggernaut that we were last year, and our defense even stepped up with a new DC and new players, or in a close game, I think our guys mentally are not there. So if you stay in the game, I think you're going to win it. If you let us get ahead, then we're very, very tough to stop.
I'm saying
taking the Jets, but this game worries me for two reasons. I'm sorry, what'd you say? You're taking the 49ers, right?
Yes, I am. And
yeah,
I just think 23-20, 23-21, something like that.
I'm taking the Jets, and Marco, you'll correct me if I'm wrong. McCaffrey didn't have a full preseason. Yep. Trent came in late. The Debo fiasco. I don't know what type of shape these three are coming in. And
you mean Ayuk?
I'm sorry. Yeah. These are three key players on that offensive squad. I don't know is Shannon going to go full ball with them? Is he going to hold back a little? That's my reason for taking the Jets. Only because those three guys did not have a full training camp. Where, Kevin, I understand our guys didn't play preseason, but they were there from day one. I don't want to hear about the 2 missed practices because Aaron Rodgers was looking at the Iron Maiden Power Slave cover in Egypt. I don't want to hear it,
Yeah.
And that's my own...
Look, the only positive of this summer from our standpoint that Brock Purdy was not recovering from elbow surgery is that it's his first full training camp as a starter under Shanahan. But what you brought up, Greg, on top of the Super Bowl hangover, I'm not really sure we're going to be ready to go. So
and just so you know,
I hope I'm wrong. But
I hope I'm wrong too. But just so you know, I have us losing this game and then ripping off the next 10 in a row.
I love it.
There you go.
I love it.
Anyway, Marco, it was a pleasure as always. Marco, I always tell you, whenever you want to come on, hit us up. It doesn't matter.
Let's do it. This time, I'm going to ping you guys again when I'm in the US in November.
Okay.
because we're half season around, Thanksgiving when things really get
Yep.
serious, and we'll see where we are, and it's going to be fun. And we're going to talk about all the
And
other
we'll
teams.
revisit everything we talked
Sounds
about here
good.
today.
Sounds
Excellent.
good. Sounds good, my
Thank you,
brother.
guys.
Thank you as always.
Thank you. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Yep. You
You
too
too.
now.
Bye.
See
Bye.
you later.
Yep.
Excellent. Very nice. Very
Always
nice.
great having Marco on. Love it. Kev, I'll tell you what, we did a long one. Do you want to do the Jets schedule next week? We'll do our picks for the Jets in week 2 and start that next week because
Yeah,
this was a little longer.
Let's spare our fans.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Anyway, Kev, awesome. Great having Marco. I'm going to try to line up another guest for week 2, and we play Tennessee. So hopefully we'll be 1-0 going into that game. Short week, but let's hope. Yep. Let's hope.
All right,
my
you
brother.
guys. Hope you've been enjoying the game so far. Hope you enjoy the games tomorrow. And of course, the game Monday night. And we'll see you for the post game. All right. But until then, get up. We'll talk to you later. Have a good one, you guys.